It was our first experience of seeing glowworms.
It was a bit gross.
And we ended up nearly homeless for the night.
Which resulted in minor surgery and bedbound for 2 weeks.
One celebrity you wouldn't say no to if you were single.
One of the best questions we saved until last.
Hello and welcome to Not Another Adventure.
We're Hannah and Tom and we're in New Zealand for a year on a working holiday visa. And to celebrate being in the country for about 5 months, we decided to do a Q&A and ask you all what you wanted to know, whether travel related or not. So we've asked you to ask us anything.
And you did, you really came through. We got quite a few questions about New Zealand, about travel in general, and a few curveballs.
Quite a few people asked us what the main differences between the UK and New Zealand are. I think before we came out we had this idea that it would be almost exactly like the UK.
In some ways it's really similar, but I'd say that New Zealand is a lot more laid back.
Yeah,
so,
everything's a bit more slow and leisurely.
Case in point, in the UK, if we want to open a bank account it takes maybe 5 minutes. In New Zealand it took us 2 weeks.
And then in terms of the actual scenery, some places you drive through and you're like, this looks like Scotland, or this looks like Wales. But obviously New Zealand hit the geographical jackpot and it's got all of those things. But it's also got the geothermal activity, the volcanoes, the most like dramatic scenery. It's so beautiful. Incredible. And then another difference between the UK and New Zealand is probably the cost of living. It's way cheaper here for petrol and diesel. Yeah. It's cheaper for coffee, which is always
so much cheaper.
A good thing.
But stuff like fruit and veg and fresh produce is so much more expensive.
Yeah. For example, in the UK, you know, you can get like a big bag of onions for like
£1.
£1.50.
So like $2.
Yeah. Here, a single onion
is about the same.
Is about the same. We once paid $3.70 or something for one red onion. So we don't buy red onions anymore. Yeah. But eating out is about the same, drinking is about the same.
So it sort of balances out because obviously petrol's cheaper, coffee's cheaper, but actually, you know, eating is a little bit more expensive.
Another question we got asked a lot is what has been our favourite experience so far, whether that's an actual experience or what our favourite or what our favourite place has been. And I think this is a hard one.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I think for me it's got to be Waipu Caves in the Northland because it was our first experience of seeing glowworms.
Yeah.
It was free, which is always a bonus, and it was just a really nice experience going in and seeing one glowworm and being so excited, and then suddenly going in a little bit further and there just being like a night sky worth of them.
Yeah.
That was really special.
That's a really good answer. I think the first thing that comes to mind, which also sounds kind of stereotypical, is Rotorua. That entire week we had there was just so good, and I think it helped that Alice was out here as well, and we were just doing something every day. Yeah. But between the geothermal activity, which we'd never seen anything like before, or the Maori culture, and everything we did was just so fun, and I feel like that really stands out to me as being so different from anything I've ever seen before, so I think that's probably my favourite. The next questions are from our lovely friend Eve.
Hi Eve!
The first question she asked is, what's one place you feel you would genuinely settle out there because you liked it so much?
For me, I think it's going to be Whangarei, up in Northland. I thought it was a really nice vibe, it was the perfect size, the bar that we went to was so lovely, I think I could work there to be honest.
Yeah, do salsa every Sunday.
Do salsa every Sunday. I could imagine myself staying there for at least a few months, maybe a year.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that as a
really?
place. Yeah.
Oh no, I really liked it.
I think I would definitely settle in South Island, even though we're only a week, if that, into our trip on South Island. I just really like the alpine vibe. I think out of everywhere so far, I could see myself settling in like Picton or Hanmer Springs.
Oh, to be fair, Hanmer Springs had a lovely vibe to it.
A quaint little cute vibe.
And you could go on hikes every day and go skiing. Can I change my answer? Hanmer Springs.
Yeah, I want to be close to a ski resort for sure.
Yeah, Hanmer Springs.
Yeah.
And the next question she asked was, since leaving the conventional 9-to-5 jobs and having alternative ways of making money, what have been the benefits and negatives of leaving that lifestyle?
I think for me the benefits have definitely been having that space from the 9-to-5 has really given me a clarity on what I really am passionate about and what I really want to do with my future. So that's definitely my main benefit. Yeah. And also just the freedom.
Yeah. And I think another benefit is finding seasonal work. You know, you can just work for a couple of weeks at a time or a couple of months and see how you feel.
Try different jobs you wouldn't usually try back at home.
Like, we genuinely thought we'd quite enjoy strawberry picking, and within 3 days we realised it wasn't for us.
Not for us. I think the hardest things have been actually finding work. You found work pretty easily, even though it wasn't as many hours as you hoped.
And also, we've got to just be a bit careful. We don't know where the next sort of bout of income's going to come. So, you know, we stay in hostels or campsites to make it cheap. We try and eat out as little as possible while having the occasional treat.
Often treat.
And that's a big negative. You just don't know where the next bout is going to come from. The next question comes from Rachel Smith, and she's asked, what place in New Zealand has been really underwhelming, didn't live up to the hype?
Kerosene Creek.
Kerosene Creek. It was advertised as this amazing free thermal pool, and it was certainly free, but I don't know, it
was a bit gross.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome that it's natural and it's just there in the middle of this forest and that people can just go and bathe for free in this hot water with a waterfall. But in reality, it's just brown and smelly and a bit like sensory blah.
But yeah, Kerosene Creek, I don't know, it was okay, but I think we were both expecting a little bit more.
But I think everywhere else has lived up to the hype.
Yeah, definitely.
She also asked what's been our favourite interaction with the local, because we show all the things we see but we don't necessarily share the interactions and stuff we have.
Which is something that we want to do more of, but it's just awkward going to someone and saying, we have a YouTube channel, can we film you?
But honestly, every interaction we've had with every local has been amazing.
It's been so lovely.
Everyone has been so nice. I think the one that stands out in my head, other than the workaway hosts who have all been like so accommodating and lovely, is we walked into a shop in Carterton, and we just got chatting to the store owner for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And she was like, here, let me give you my phone number and my address. If you ever get stuck, just give me a ring.
And we'll let you stay for free.
How nice is that?
It was so lovely.
So lovely. The next question is a bit of a hard one. It's from our good friend Fionn. It's what's been our favourite and worst adventure or place we've been. I think in terms of best place, I'm really stuck between our first trip to the Lake District together was so good.
I think for me the best one is the Isle of Skye.
Yeah, that was so good.
Really loved it. It was a bucket list place that I really wanted to go to. So actually getting to go and explore was just a dream come true.
And obviously interrailing.
Interrailing, yeah.
But we'd only been together about 5 months. YouTube wasn't even in our
minds.
Yeah, so that was so good, but we have like no documentation of it.
No. I think the worst place for me, not because it was a place, and I really want to go back to it, but worst sort of place we've been is probably Budapest, just because we got scammed buying a non-existent hostel.
Yeah.
And we ended up nearly homeless for the night.
Yeah.
So I would love to go back to Budapest.
Beautiful city, just bad experience.
Bad experience. So I'd say that's probably in my worst, but it wasn't anything to do with the place.
I actually can't choose a worst.
Everywhere's been nice that we've been. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been a few underwhelming places, but I wouldn't say that they've been bad, you know?
Yeah.
Quite a few people, including Tom Topics and Hey and Kyle, asked, what's our plan? How long are we going to be in New Zealand, and what's the next step once we've left New Zealand?
I think we're probably going to aim to come back in about October after Tom's parents visit in September. But it all depends on whether we want to go to Australia or Southeast Asia after that, or whether we actually have enough money to.
Yeah, it definitely depends on money. But then once we're back in the UK, we really want to buy a camper van and do UK road trip.
Yeah.
So, you know, go up to Scotland, go across to Wales, go down south, and then who knows, maybe head into Europe for a little bit. This next question comes from Woodside Walker. Which Lord of the Rings character do you most relate to? Now, I like to think that I'm a Gandalf, but I know for a fact that I'm a Pippin or a Merry.
I really struggled with this one. I had no idea. So I took 5 quizzes of what Lord of the Rings character are you. 4 out of 5 said Frodo, which I was like, no. And 1 said Treebeard. But actually, I had an epiphany. I think I'm most like Radagast the Brown.
That's a good choice, I could see that.
Yeah, I want to live in the middle of a forest surrounded by loads of animals.
And you want to poo on your head.
Exactly. Slightly unhinged, but have the best intentions. The next question is from Tom's mum.
Hi Mum.
And the Nottingham lass.
Hi the Nottingham lass.
It's, have there been any struggles or challenges since travelling in New Zealand?
That's a tough one.
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots.
I think one of the biggest struggles for us has probably been finding accommodation. We're not very good at planning. We tend to do it day by day, which sometimes means that we're left with last minute accommodation.
I think there's lots of challenges. Finding accommodation, finding work has been more of a challenge than expected. I think the loneliness was quite a challenge in the North Island.
Yeah, we worked out that between the three of us, when we were travelling with Harriet, that booking an Airbnb or a motel was cheaper than booking a hostel.
Yeah.
But that meant that we didn't really get to see many people, we didn't really get to make many friends. Now we're on the South Island, we stayed in a lot more hostels.
We've been socialising like every day, made quite a few friends, so that's been so refreshing.
But yeah, I think those are the main struggles. But no, thanks for the question.
Good questions. The next few questions are from the lovely Ellie, my brother's girlfriend. These are pretty good and practical questions. So one is, how much do you need to save to go? I think it entirely depends on how soon you want to work, if you want to work, what you want to do, what kind of lifestyle you want, that kind of thing. I think if you're gonna work fairly soon, I'd say you don't need to save more than like $1,000 or $2,000.
Well, I think New Zealand immigration want you to save £2,400 just so you have enough to live off for the first couple of months, so that you've got a bit of a backup option.
But I think if you're going to leave working for a while, and if you want to buy like a vehicle and things like that, and if you want to do a lot of excursions, save up a few more grand than that.
Yeah, and we'd recommend buying a vehicle. Getting from city to city is pretty easy on buses, but as soon as you want to go to the more rural areas, a car is a godsend.
The next question is tips on getting visas. Don't need any tips. I think we did it so easy. Just fill in the online application for a working holiday visa. Yeah. Pay it, and then we got approved within 2 days.
I recognise we're coming from a place of privilege here, being UK citizens.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy for us to get a visa, but all we can do is talk about our experience, and our experience was pretty easy.
Yeah. Do you keep emergency savings separate? Yeah, I do.
I don't. All my savings are in one, and as I've worked, I've tried to save up like an emergency saving for a flight back home if I need it, whereas Hannah...
I've got an emergency flight saving and extra savings in a pot just in case that I'm not touching. I'm doing that as invisible money that doesn't exist for this trip.
Whereas I'm working for my invisible money.
The next question is about packing tips, which I have a lot to talk about, and we might even do a separate video on packing.
Packing cubes is the big one.
So
they
helpful.
are a godsend.
It was quite difficult to know what to pack because I didn't think it through. I just thought it's going to be summer while we're there, it's going to be warm into autumn. The weather changes so drastically in New Zealand anyway, but if you're thinking going to Australia, I think you'd be a bit more safe having one wardrobe. But it's come into autumn and it's getting cold, and I had like no thermals, no really anything warm.
Yeah.
So I've had to go out and buy like warm pajamas, more jumpers and thermals and stuff. And something that I didn't bring, which I wish I did, was proper boots, like proper heavy duty, like walking boots or something, because on all the workaways I haven't had any, which has been kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And that's how I did my toe injury in the strawberry farm, so.
But yeah, we'll probably do a separate video on packing tips and like what we packed coming to New Zealand.
Yeah, for sure.
Ellie also asked one last question, which was funniest moment / major cock-ups.
I can think of major cock-ups for sure.
Yeah.
For example, not wearing decent shoes to do strawberry picking, which resulted in minor surgery and bedbound for 2 weeks.
But I think definitely one of the bigger ones as well was not getting windscreen insurance, and then the first day that we drove our car,
literal first day,
we cracked the windscreen in 2 places.
Which then split and we had to get it replaced.
That was $450. So that was a pretty big cock up.
Yeah.
As a tip, get windscreen insurance.
Those were great questions and hopefully really helpful for other people, so thanks.
Where Do We Travel Now has asked quite a few questions. The first one being 3 places each that you haven't been to but would love to see one day soon.
Okay, I think I've got my 3. Japan, Canada, and I know this is a bit of a cop-out, but Scandinavia as a whole.
No, I think that counts. For me, yeah, Japan and Canada, but I think the Faroe Islands would be for me. They seem really rugged and really sort of like in the middle of nowhere, so I'd love to try and get there. Non-travel related, one celebrity you wouldn't say no to if you were single. Right, I reckon we count down from 3 and we just say whoever's in our mind. Okay? 3, 2, 1. Anya Taylor-Joy.
We did say ask us anything, so I guess we had that one coming.
One word answers only. Where would you be afraid to travel? The Congo.
Agreed.
Train or plane?
Train.
Train. A travelling channel that you actually follow in the sense that you don't miss a video. For me, it's Jits Into the Sunset.
I know this is meant to be a one-word answer, but I know they're really popular, but Flying the Nest, I love seeing how they travel with that cute little toddler. But please check out all of the other travel channels we mentioned during this video, and we'll link some other ones that we really, really love as well.
We're filming these last set of questions at the Geographical Centre of New Zealand.
So these questions are from Nia.
Hostel or home?
By home, I presume you mean like when we do workaways and we stay in people's homes. So I'm definitely going to say home, although hostels are better for socialising. So it depends on the mood,
Yeah.
but overall I'd say home.
What do you want to visit more of, but you haven't yet? I want to visit more lakes, and I want to do more mountain hikes in
Oh
New
yeah,
Zealand.
I just want to do more big walks, long walks.
like
for sure.
all-day hikes. We haven't done a lot of them since being in New Zealand.
Mountains, snowy mountains.
That would be the dream. And finally,
One of the best questions we saved until last.
has this trip changed your goals or outlook?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
For me personally, it's really given me the space, like I said before, to really to really think about what I want in life and what I need and what fulfills me and what doesn't work for me. So I think even the challenges, at the time they seem hard, I think they're all lessons, they're all teachers. So it's been really helpful in that sense to kind of understand myself and my wants more. And I think it's really going to shape how I go into the future.
Hannah's just given a really deep and detailed answer. For me, it's just made me realise that I want to travel more and I want to see more of the world. But no, that's the end of the questions.
Thank you so much everyone for your questions. We really, really appreciated it and really enjoyed answering all these questions and hope that you got something from it.
Next up, we're going to release our north part of our South Island road trip, so be sure to stay tuned for that.
See you on the next one.
Bye!